What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, you're not actually experiencing now? What if the present moment you think you're living in is actually a carefully constructed illusion created by the fundamental speed limit of the universe? Here's something that will completely shatter your understanding of reality. When you look at your hand in front of your face, you're not seeing it as it exists right now. You're seeing it as it existed nanoseconds ago. The light bouncing off your hand has to travel to your eyes. And even though light is the fastest thing in the universe, it still takes time. You are literally living in the past, every single moment of your life. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-bending. What if time itself, this thing we build our entire existence around, that we measure with atomic precision, that we desperately try to save and never seem to have enough of, what if it doesn't actually exist the way we think it does? What if time is nothing more than a side effect of light's speed limit? A cosmic illusion created by the fact that information can't travel instantaneously. By the end of this video, you're going to see reality in a completely different way. You'll understand why some of the brightest physicists in the world genuinely believe that past, present, and future all exist simultaneously, and why the flow of time might be the greatest trick your brain has ever played on you. But before we dive into this reality-shattering journey, do me a favor. Hit that like button if you're ready to have your mind blown, and subscribe because we're going deep into territory that most science channels won't touch. Also, drop a comment telling me what country you're watching from and what time it is where you are right now. Trust me, by the end of this video, that simple question is going to mean something completely different to you. Let's start with something that seems simple, but is actually cosmically weird. Why does light have a speed limit at all? In 1676, a Danish astronomer named Ole Rachmer made an observation that would eventually crack open our understanding of reality. He was studying the moons of Jupiter, trying to predict when they would emerge from behind the planet. But his predictions kept being wrong. The moons appeared to emerge later when Earth was farther from Jupiter, and earlier when Earth was closer. Most scientists assumed Rachmer's calculations were just off. But Rachmer realized something extraordinary. Light takes time to travel. The moons weren't changing their orbit. The light from those moons was taking longer to reach us when we were farther away. This was the first measurement of light speed, and it revealed something profound. Information has a speed limit in our universe. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a massive stadium, and someone at the other end claps their hands. You see the clap before you hear it, because light travels faster than sound. But here's the thing, you still don't see it instantly. Light has to cross that distance. Now scale that up to the universe itself. Everything you see, everything you experience, has to travel to you at light speed or slower. But why? Why does light have this specific speed? 299,792,458 meters per second. Why not infinite? Why not slower or faster? Here's what will blow your mind. According to Albert Einstein's special relativity, published in 1905, the speed of light isn't just some arbitrary cosmic speed limit. It's actually the speed of causality itself. It's the speed at which cause and effect can propagate through space. Nothing can go faster, because if it did, effects could happen before their causes. Time travel to the past would become possible, and the universe would collapse into paradoxes. The speed of light is literally the speed at which reality updates. Now here's where we need to challenge everything. If light has a speed limit, and light is how we perceive the world, then we never perceive anything as it actually is in the present. We only perceive the past. When you look at the sun, you're seeing it as it was 8 minutes ago. When you look at the nearest star beyond our sun, Alpha Centauri, you're seeing it as it was 4.37 years ago. When you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, you're seeing it as it was 2.5 million years ago. But you're thinking, sure, for distant objects. But for things near me, the delay is so small it doesn't matter. That's where you're wrong. The delay is always there, always, for everything, including this very moment you think you're experiencing. Think of it like a video game. When you play an online multiplayer game, there's something called latency or ping. Your actions have to travel to the server and back. You're never seeing the game in real time. You're seeing it with a delay. Now imagine the entire universe works this way, except you can never reduce the ping because you can never escape light's speed limit. Here's the critical question that's going to guide us through this entire journey. If we can never perceive the present, and everything we experience is the past, then what exactly is now? Does the present moment even exist? And if the present doesn't exist the way we think it does, what does that mean for time itself? In 1905, Albert Einstein published what might be the most reality-shattering scientific paper ever written. Special relativity didn't just change physics, it murdered the concept of universal time. Here's what Einstein proved with mathematics so solid that it's been confirmed by thousands of experiments. There is no such thing as a universal now. The present moment is different for everyone, depending on how fast they're moving and where they are in a gravitational field. Let me make this concrete with an experiment that's actually been done. In 1971, physicist Joseph Haffel and astronomer Richard Keating took 4 atomic clocks, the most precise timekeeping devices humans have ever created, and flew them around the world on commercial airplanes. 2 went eastward, 2 went westward. When they compared these clocks to identical atomic clocks that stayed on the ground, they found something extraordinary. The clocks that flew around the world had aged differently. The eastward clocks lost about 59 nanoseconds, while the westward clocks gained about 273 nanoseconds. Time literally passed at different rates for these clocks based solely on their motion. Now, you might think, that's such a tiny difference. Who cares? But here's what you're missing. This proves that time is not a universal backdrop against which events occur. Time is relative. Your now is not my now, if we're moving at different speeds or in different gravitational fields. Think of it like this. Imagine you and your friend are standing on opposite sides of a room. You both agree on what here means for each of you. It's where you're standing. But you don't share the same here. Your here is different from their here. Einstein proved that now works the same way. Your now is different from someone else's now if you're in different states of motion. But it gets so much weirder. According to relativity, events that I perceive as happening simultaneously might happen at completely different times for you if you're moving relative to me. The entire concept of simultaneity, 2 things happening at the exact same moment, is an illusion that only works for objects that are stationary relative to each other. Here's a thought experiment that Einstein himself proposed. Imagine you're standing on a train platform, and a train passes by at nearly the speed of light. Lightning strikes both ends of the train at the exact same moment, according to you on the platform. But for someone sitting in the middle of the train, the lightning strike at the front of the train happens before the lightning strike at the back. Not because of perception delay actually, genuinely, in their reference frame, one happens before the other. This means the order of events can be different for different observers. Your past could be someone else's future. Physicist Brian Greene put it perfectly. Right now, in this moment, events that I would call happening now on a distant planet could include things that someone moving relative to me would call the past or the future. The present moment stretches and compresses based on motion. So here's the first major revelation. If there's no universal now, and everyone experiences a different present moment, then the idea that only the present is real falls apart. If your now includes events that are in my past or future, then somehow past and future must be just as real as the present. This is called the block universe theory, and it suggests something absolutely staggering. Every moment that has ever happened and will ever happen exists right now, simultaneously, in a 4-dimensional block of space-time. You're not moving through time. You're just aware of different slices of this eternal block. Time doesn't flow. It just is. Now we need to talk about something that's going to reorganize how you think about cause and effect, the light cone. Imagine you're sitting in a chair right now. Draw an imaginary line through space in every direction away from you. Now, let light travel along all those lines simultaneously. After 1 second, that light has created a sphere around you that's 299,792 kilometers in radius. After 2 seconds, the sphere is twice as big. If you plot this expanding sphere through time, you get a cone, a light cone. Here's why this matters. The light cone divides all of spacetime into 3 categories. First, there's your past light cone, everything that could have sent light to reach you right now. These are all the events that could have caused your current moment. Second, there's your future light cone, everything that you could possibly send light to from this moment. These are all the events you could possibly influence. And third, here's the weird part. There's everything outside your light cone. These are events that are so far away that light hasn't had time to connect you to them yet. Events outside your light cone cannot affect you, and you cannot affect them. Not because it's difficult, but because it's physically impossible. Those events literally don't exist in your causal structure yet. Think of it like this. Imagine reality is a giant web, and causal connections are the threads. Light is what weaves the threads. Until light has time to connect 2 points, those points exist in separate, disconnected realities. They're not part of the same now, and they can't influence each other in any way. Brian Cox, the physicist, explains it brilliantly. The universe is not a single now that everyone shares. The universe is a vast collection of different nows connected by light. This is where things get really strange. Right now, there are events happening on distant planets that are so far away that those events and you exist in completely causally disconnected realities. You're not in each other's universe yet. In fact, depending on how you're moving, what you call now on that distant planet could be 100 years in that planet's past or 100 years in its future, and both perspectives are equally valid. In 1915, Einstein published general relativity, which added another layer to this. Gravity also warps time. The stronger the gravitational field you're in, the slower time passes for you relative to someone in a weaker field. GPS satellites have to account for this. Time passes faster for them in orbit than it does on Earth's surface, about 38 microseconds faster per day. Without correcting for this time difference, GPS would give you wrong positions that accumulate by kilometers every day. Here's the implication. 2 people standing at different elevations on Earth are experiencing time at different rates. If you're on the ground floor of a building and your friend is on the top floor, they're aging faster than you. By nanoseconds, yes, but genuinely faster. So we have motion changing time. We have gravity changing time. We have distance creating fundamentally different nows. If time is this flexible, this dependent on position and motion, can we really call it a fundamental feature of reality? Or is time just a relationship between events determined by how light connects them? Here's the staggering possibility. Maybe time isn't a thing at all. Maybe it's just a map of causal connections, and the speed of light is what determines which events can be connected to which other events. The question we have to ask is, what if time is just the experience of traveling along paths through this light cone structure? What if the flow of time is nothing more than information propagating at light speed through space? Here's a question that should bother you. If the laws of physics work the same, whether time runs forward or backward, why does time only seem to flow in one direction? Every equation in physics, Newton's laws, Maxwell's equations for electromagnetism, even Einstein's relativity, they all work just fine if you run time backward. If I showed you a video of planets orbiting the sun in reverse, the physics would be perfectly valid, but you'd never see a broken egg unbreak itself, or smoke flow back into a candle, or a person grow younger. This is called the arrow of time, and it's one of the deepest mysteries in physics. In 1850, a physicist named Rudolf Clausius formulated the second law of thermodynamics, which states that entropy disorder always increases in a closed system. This law is the only fundamental law of physics that has a direction. It says the universe is constantly moving from order to disorder. But here's what's weird. This law is statistical, not absolute. It's not that disorder must increase. It's that disorder is overwhelmingly more likely to increase, simply because there are more ways for things to be disordered than ordered. Think of it like this. If you dump a box of puzzle pieces on the floor, they could theoretically land perfectly assembled, but the number of ways they could land as a jumbled mess is astronomically larger. So randomness almost always produces disorder. Ludwig Boltzmann, in the 1870s, realized something profound. The arrow of time is just a consequence of probability. We perceive time as flowing from past to future because we're moving from less probable states, order, to more probable states, disorder. Entropy is basically just a measure of how many ways particles can be arranged. But here's the mind-blowing part. If the universe started in a low entropy state, highly ordered, and is moving toward high entropy, state maximum disorder, then the direction of time is just the direction of increasing entropy. The arrow of time points from low entropy to high entropy. So why did the universe start in such a low entropy state? That's the Big Bang. The early universe was incredibly hot and dense, but also incredibly uniform. That uniformity was a very low entropy state. And ever since, entropy has been increasing, creating the arrow of time we experience. Now here's where light comes in. Information, including the information about entropy, propagates at the speed of light. Cause must precede effect, because causes send information at light speed to create effects. The arrow of time and the speed of light are intimately connected. Physicist Sean Carroll has argued that the arrow of time exists only because of the Big Bang's initial conditions. In a universe that's reached maximum entropy, the heat death of the universe, there would be no arrow of time. Time would essentially become meaningless because no change would be possible. Everything would be in equilibrium. So here's the disturbing possibility. The flow of time from past to future is not a fundamental feature of reality. It's an emergent property, a byproduct of the universe starting in a low entropy state and evolving toward higher entropy. Time's arrow is just entropy's increase, and entropy's increase is just probability playing out. And because information about entropy changes propagates at light speed, the speed of light is what sets the pace of time's arrow. Light's speed limit is why cause precedes effect, why we remember the past, but not the future, why we age in one direction. Think about this. If light were infinitely fast, if information could travel instantaneously, the entire universe would update simultaneously. There would be no delay between cause and effect. The concept of before and after would collapse. Time, as we experience it, might not exist at all. Light's speed limit creates time's arrow, and time's arrow might be all that time actually is. Now we're going to enter territory that gets really, really weird. We need to talk about quantum mechanics and what it says about time and observation. In 1927, Werner Heisenberg formulated the uncertainty principle, which states that you cannot simultaneously know both the exact position and exact momentum of a particle. The more precisely you measure one, the less precisely you can know the other. But this isn't just a limitation of our measuring tools. It's a fundamental feature of reality. Particles don't have definite positions or velocities until they're measured. Before measurement, they exist in a superposition, a state where they're in multiple states at once. Only when an observation is made does the particle collapse into a single definite state. Here's the famous thought experiment. Schrodinger's cat. A cat is in a box with a device that has a 50% chance of killing it. Until you open the box and observe, quantum mechanics says the cat is in a superposition of both alive and dead. The act of observation collapses the superposition into one definite state. Now, obviously, cats don't work this way in practice, but particles do. Electrons, photons, atoms, they genuinely exist in superpositions until measured. This has been confirmed by thousands of experiments. But here's what's cosmically disturbing. What counts as an observation? In the 1970s and 80s, physicist John Wheeler proposed a delayed choice experiment. In this experiment, the decision about how to measure a particle is made after the particle has already passed through the apparatus. Somehow, the particle seems to know what measurement will be made and behaves accordingly, even though the measurement hasn't happened yet from the particle's perspective. This has been experimentally confirmed. Particles respond to future measurements. Wheeler took this even further with the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. He showed that you can make a measurement that retroactively changes what happened in the past. You can erase information about a particle's path after it's already been recorded, and the particle will behave as if that path was never determined, even though it happened in the past. Past events change based on future observations. This is where light becomes absolutely crucial. All these quantum experiments involve photons, particles of light, and the weird behavior only happens within the limits of light speed. Information about the measurement can't travel faster than light, so quantum weirdness is constrained by light's speed limit. Think of it like this. Quantum mechanics suggests that reality isn't definite until it's observed. But observation requires information transfer, and information can only transfer at light speed. So reality crystallizes at the speed of light. Physicist Carlo Rovelli has argued that time in quantum mechanics is fundamentally about relationships between events, not some absolute flow. Events don't happen in time. Time is just the network of causal relationships between events, and those relationships are defined by light-speed connections. Here's the staggering implication. If quantum mechanics is right, then the past isn't fully fixed until it's observed, and observations propagate at light speed. The act of observing the past right now might literally be creating aspects of that past. Light is the medium through which reality becomes definite. But it gets even stranger. Quantum entanglement, when two particles become correlated, so that measuring one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are, seems to violate light's speed limit. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance and hated it. But here's the thing. Entanglement doesn't actually transmit information faster than light. You can't use it to send messages. What it does do is create correlations that seem to exist outside of time. When two particles are entangled, measuring one instantly determines the state of the other, but in a way that's not quite happening at any particular time. It's as if entangled particles share a connection that exists in a timeless realm. Physicist Julian Barber has proposed something radical. What if time doesn't exist at all at the quantum level? What if the fundamental layer of reality is timeless, and time only emerges when you have complex systems with lots of particles? Time might be an illusion created by our macroscopic experience of quantum systems. And light? Light is how quantum information propagates through space, creating the appearance of time as it stitches together quantum events into causal chains. We're not just living in a universe where time is relative. We might be living in a universe where time emerges from timeless quantum laws, and light is the mechanism that creates the illusion of temporal flow. Let's now confront the most philosophically disturbing implication of everything we've discussed: the block universe. If special relativity is correct, and there's no universal now, then all moments in time exist equally. Past, present, and future are all equally real, all existing simultaneously in a four-dimensional block of spacetime. You don't move through time, you exist as a four-dimensional object, a world line that stretches from your birth to your death. Einstein himself acknowledged this in a letter to the family of his friend, Michel Besso, after Besso died in 1955. Now he has departed from this strange world a little ahead of me. That means nothing. People like us, who believe in physics, know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Think about what Einstein is saying. Your childhood, this moment right now, your death, they all exist right now in the block universe. You're not experiencing these moments in sequence. You're a four-dimensional being, and your consciousness is just aware of different slices of your world line at different points. The flow of time is just your awareness moving along your world line, like a spotlight illuminating different parts of a film strip. The film strip itself, all of space-time, just exists, unchanging and eternal. Physicist Brian Greene describes it like this. Every moment in your life, from your birth to your death, exists right now, just as the entire length of a road exists, even though you're only at one point on it at any given time. But here's where light creates this illusion. Because information propagates at light speed, you can only be aware of events within your past light cone. Your consciousness experiences events in a sequence, determined by light's ability to connect them causally. The flow of time is just causality propagating at light speed. In the block universe, free will becomes deeply problematic. If the future already exists, just as real as the past, then is everything predetermined? Are your future choices already made, already existing in the block? Physicist Lee Smolin has been one of the few voices arguing against the block universe. He proposes that time is real, that the future is genuinely open and not yet determined, but he's in the minority. Most physicists who take relativity seriously accept some form of eternalism, the view that all times are equally real. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine an alien on a planet 10 light years away. If that alien started moving toward Earth at high speed, relativity tells us that they're, now, the events happening simultaneously from their perspective, could shift from being in Earth's present to being in Earth's future. Events that haven't happened yet on Earth, from our perspective, would be happening now, from the alien's perspective, just because they started moving. This only makes sense if those future events already exist. Otherwise, how could the alien's motion make future events become present events? The block universe suggests that everything that will ever happen to you has already happened from the perspective of the universe as a whole. Your death is just as real as your birth. It exists right now in the four-dimensional space-time manifold. Your experience of time flowing is just what it feels like to be a conscious being traversing your world line, able to access memories of earlier sections, but not later sections, creating the illusion that the past is fixed and the future is open. And light? Light is the cosmic speed limit that determines which parts of the block universe can be causally connected. Light defines the structure of causality in this timeless, eternal block. The flow of time is an illusion. The universe is a frozen, eternal structure, and your consciousness is trapped in a prison of causality defined by light's speed. Here's something that's going to make you question everything. What if effects can precede their causes? What if the future can influence the past? In quantum mechanics, there's a phenomenon called retrocausality, the idea that future events can affect past events. This isn't science fiction. This is emerging from serious interpretations of quantum experiments. Physicist John Cramer developed the transactional interpretation of quantum mechanics in 1986, which proposes that particles send offer waves forward in time and confirmation waves backward in time. A quantum event only happens when the offer wave and confirmation wave meet. In other words, every quantum event is a transaction between the past and the future. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiment I mentioned earlier seems to show this in action. The choice you make in the future about how to measure a particle changes what that particle did in the past. The future is reaching back and rewriting history. Now, this doesn't violate causality in the way we normally think about it, because you can't use retrocausality to send information to your past self. But it does suggest that time's arrow might not be as one-directional as we think at the quantum level. Think of it like this. Imagine you're watching a river flow downstream. You assume the water upstream is causing the water downstream to move. But what if the entire river exists all at once, and upstream and downstream are just descriptions of different parts of the same eternal structure? The flow is an illusion created by your perspective. Physicist Hugh Price has argued that many quantum phenomena make more sense if we accept that causation can flow both directions in time. The future is influencing the past just as much as the past influences the future, but we only notice causation flowing forward because of entropy's arrow. Here's where this connects to light. Photons, particles of light, don't experience time at all. From a photon's perspective, traveling at the speed of light, time doesn't pass. A photon emitted from a star billions of light years away and absorbed by your eye experiences zero time between emission and absorption. For the photon, those events are simultaneous. Light exists outside of time. This means that the entire path of every photon exists as a timeless entity. When a photon is emitted and absorbed, from the photon's perspective, emission and absorption happen simultaneously. Cause and effect collapse into a single moment. Physicist Julian Barber takes this even further. He argues that time is completely illusory, that the fundamental reality is a timeless space of all possible configurations of the universe, which he calls Platonia. What we experience as time is just a path through Platonia, a sequence of static configurations that create the illusion of change. In Barber's view, the universe doesn't evolve through time. It just is, all moments existing simultaneously in Platonia. The laws of physics don't describe how things change over time. They describe correlations between different timeless configurations. And light? Light is the thread that correlates different configurations, creating the appearance of causal connections and temporal flow. Here's the deeply disturbing conclusion. If retrocausality is real, if the future can influence the past, if photons experience no time, then the entire concept of time as a one-way street collapses. Time becomes just another dimension, no more special than length or width, and the present moment is nothing but your current position in that dimension. The choices you make tomorrow might be influencing the events you experienced yesterday. The person you'll become in 10 years might be reaching back through time and shaping who you are today. Not through some mystical force, but through the fundamental structure of quantum mechanics and light. Time isn't flowing. It's just there, all of it, connected by light-speed correlations that create the illusion of cause and effect. Now we need to talk about the most important part of this puzzle. You, your consciousness, your experience of time. Because here's the thing, even if time is an illusion at the physics level, it's a very real experience for you. You remember the past. You anticipate the future. You feel like you're moving from moment to moment. Why? In the 1990s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted experiments that shook our understanding of consciousness and time. He asked people to flex their wrist whenever they felt like it and note the exact moment they decided to act. Meanwhile, he measured their brain activity. What he found was disturbing. The brain's motor cortex started preparing for the action about 550 milliseconds before the person reported consciously deciding to act. The decision to move was made unconsciously before the person was aware of making the decision. Your conscious experience of making a choice happens after your brain has already initiated that choice. This has been confirmed and expanded by many subsequent studies. Neuroscientist Patrick Haggard has shown that we can predict your decisions from brain activity up to 7 to 10 seconds before you're consciously aware of making them. Your experience of the present moment, this feeling of now, is reconstructed by your brain after the fact. Your brain is constantly creating a narrative of events, and it places your conscious awareness at a point that makes sense as now. But that point is actually slightly in the past. Think of it like this. Your brain is like a movie editor. Events happen, sensory input comes in, decisions are made, actions are taken. But your consciousness doesn't experience these events as they happen. Your brain takes all this raw footage, edits it together into a coherent narrative, and then presents it to your consciousness as a seamless experience of now. But it's not now. It's a carefully constructed story about the recent past, presented as the present. Neuroscientist Anil Seth describes consciousness as a controlled hallucination. Your brain is constantly making predictions about what's happening in the world, and your conscious experience is the brain's best guess about reality, constrained by sensory input. The flow of time you feel? That's your brain stitching together moments into a narrative. Without memory, you wouldn't experience time at all. Patients with severe amnesia report feeling like they're perpetually waking up in the present moment with no sense of continuity from the past. So here's the revelation. The psychological experience of time flowing is created by memory. You remember having a past, so you feel like you've traveled from that past to this present. You anticipate a future, so you feel like you're moving toward it. But all of this is happening in your brain's narrative construction, not in reality itself. And here's where light comes back in. Your brain builds this narrative using information that arrives at light speed or slower. The light reflecting off objects enters your eyes, gets processed by your visual cortex, which takes about 100 milliseconds, and then gets integrated into your conscious narrative, which takes even longer. By the time you're consciously aware of seeing something, it's already in the past. Your entire life is spent living in a delayed reconstruction of events that already happened. Philosopher Thomas Metzinger has argued that the self-your sense of being a continuous person through time is itself an illusion created by the brain. There's no persistent you moving through time. There's just a series of brain states, each creating the illusion of being a continuous self with a past and future. The you reading this sentence is not the same you who started this video. That person no longer exists. They're just a memory that this current brain state has access to, creating the illusion of continuity. Time, as you experience it, is a story your brain tells you. And like all stories, it's a simplified, edited version of reality, designed to make sense of a chaotic stream of sensory input arriving at light speed. The present moment you think you're experiencing right now, it's already gone. You're living in a memory of the immediate past, presented as the present, creating the illusion of temporal flow. Let's zoom out to the biggest possible perspective, the entire universe. What does time look like from the cosmological scale? In 1929, Edwin Hubble discovered something shocking. Distant galaxies are moving away from us, and the farther away they are, the faster they're receding. The universe is expanding. And if you run this expansion backward, you get to a point about 13.8 billion years ago, where everything was compressed into an infinitely dense, infinitely hot point, the Big Bang. But here's what's weird. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion in space. It was an explosion of space. Space itself began at the Big Bang, and so did time. Before the Big Bang? That question doesn't even make sense because there was no before. Time itself began at that moment. Think about that. Time had a beginning. It's not eternal. It's not infinite in the past. There was a first moment. Stephen Hawking, working with Roger Penrose in the 1970s, proved mathematically that if general relativity is correct, the Big Bang represents a singularity, a point where space and time break down, where the equations produce infinities, where physics as we know it stops working. At the Big Bang, the speed of light, the laws of physics, time itself, none of them existed yet. Or rather, they all came into existence together in that first moment. But here's where it gets really strange. Because light has a finite speed, when we look at distant galaxies, we're looking back in time. The light from those galaxies has been traveling for billions of years to reach us. The most distant galaxies we can see are so far away that their light has been traveling for over 13 billion years. We're seeing them as they were when the universe was just a few 100 million years old. There's a limit to how far we can see, called the observable universe. This limit is set by light's speed and the age of the universe. Light from anything farther than about 46 billion light years away, accounting for the universe's expansion, hasn't had time to reach us yet? Beyond the observable universe, there could be infinite space and infinite galaxies, but they're completely disconnected from us. We will never see them. They will never see us. We exist in separate causal bubbles, defined by light's ability to connect us. Physicist Max Tegmark has argued that the entire universe might be infinite, containing infinite copies of you living out every possible variation of your life. But these copies are so far away that light will never connect you to them. They exist in regions of space-time that are forever outside your light cone. Now here's the cosmological bomb. The universe is not just expanding, it's accelerating. Dark energy is pushing galaxies apart faster and faster. Eventually, billions of years in the future, galaxies will be receding from each other faster than light. Not traveling faster than light through space, but having space itself expand between them faster than light can cross it. When that happens, those galaxies will disappear from each other's observable universes. They'll cross beyond each other's light cones and cease to exist for each other. Not just invisible causally disconnected, they might as well be in different universes. In the far, far future, trillions upon trillions of years from now, the universe will reach a state called heat death. Every star will have burned out. Every black hole will have evaporated through Hawking radiation. The universe will be a cold, dark, uniform sea of particles spread impossibly thin. And in that state, with no change occurring anywhere, time will become meaningless. There will be no arrow of time, because there will be no entropy increase. Nothing will happen. Time will effectively end, not because the universe ends, but because change ends. The universe began with time at the Big Bang, and it will end with time fading away in heat death. Time is not eternal. It's a temporary feature of a universe that's far from equilibrium. And light? Light is what defined the causal structure of the universe from the beginning. The cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, is light that's been traveling for 13.8 billion years. That light defines the edge of our observable universe. Beyond it lies the unknown, forever disconnected from us by light's speed limit. The universe is a vast collection of overlapping light cones, each defining what's causally connected to what. Time is just the structure of these causal connections. And when the connections fade away in the heat death, time will fade with them. Light created time at the Big Bang. Light will let it fade away at the universe's end. You might be thinking, this is all fascinating, but does it actually matter for my life? The answer is, absolutely yes, every single day. Let me prove it to you. Pull out your phone. Open your GPS app. That app is telling you your location to within a few meters. How? By communicating with satellites orbiting Earth at about 20,000 kilometers altitude. But here's the thing. Those satellites are moving at about 14,000 kilometers per hour relative to you. According to special relativity, time passes slower for moving objects. So time on the satellites runs slower than time on Earth by about 7 microseconds per day due to their motion. But wait, those satellites are also in a weaker gravitational field than you are on Earth's surface. According to general relativity, time passes faster in weaker gravitational fields. So time on the satellites runs faster than time on Earth by about 45 microseconds per day due to gravity. Net effect: satellite clocks run fast by about 38 microseconds per day compared to clocks on Earth. If GPS didn't correct for this relativistic time difference, your GPS position would drift by about 10 kilometers per day. Within a week, your GPS would be useless. Every time you use GPS to navigate, you're relying on Einstein's equations about time and relativity being correct. You're using the fact that time is not absolute, that it's warped by motion and gravity. Time being an illusion isn't just philosophical, it's engineering reality. Let's talk about particle accelerators. The Large Hadron Collider, the most powerful particle accelerator ever built, accelerates protons to 99.999991% of the speed of light. At that speed, time dilation is extreme. From our perspective in the lab, the protons circle the 27-kilometer ring about 11,000 times per second. But from the proton's perspective, time is passing so slowly that it experiences the entire journey as lasting only a tiny fraction of a second. The protons are essentially traveling into our future. In fact, particles called muons, created in Earth's upper atmosphere by cosmic rays, shouldn't be able to reach the ground. They decay with a half-life of 2.2 microseconds, and even traveling at nearly light speed, they should decay before completing the journey. But they do reach the ground in huge numbers. Why? Time dilation. From the muon's perspective, its internal clock is running normally, but our time is running fast. From our perspective, the muon's clock is running slow, so it lives long enough to reach the ground. Both perspectives are correct. These particles are living proof that time is relative, that motion through space affects passage through time. Here's another daily example: atomic clocks. The most precise timekeeping devices ever created. Atomic clocks measure time by counting oscillations of cesium atoms. 9,192,631,770 oscillations equals 1 second. But if you have two atomic clocks sitting next to each other, and one is lifted even just 1 meter higher than the other, it will run faster due to the slightly weaker gravitational field. The difference is only about 90 nanoseconds per day, but it's measurable and real. Gravitational time dilation is so sensitive that physicists have measured it over height differences of just 33 centimeters. Your head is aging faster than your feet by about 10 to 16 seconds per second. Tiny, but real. Physicist Clifford Will has spent his career testing general relativity in extreme conditions, and every single prediction has been confirmed. Time dilation is real. Gravitational warping of spacetime is real. We've measured it, engineered around it, and exploited it. But here's what's profound. All of these effects are consequences of light's speed limit. Time dilation happens because light speed is constant for all observers. If light could travel instantaneously, none of these effects would exist. Time would be absolute again. The fact that your GPS works, that muons reach the ground, that atomic clocks at different heights tick at different rates. All of this is proof that time is not what you think it is. Time is malleable, relative, dependent on motion and position. And the reason time behaves this way is because of light's speed limit. Light is the cosmic constant, and time bends around it. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you're navigating a universe where time is an illusion created by light's limits. Now we need to confront the existential weight of everything we've discussed. If time is an illusion, what does that mean for your life? For free will? For meaning? Let's start with the hard one. Free will. If the block universe is real, if all moments exist simultaneously, if your future is already laid out in four-dimensional spacetime, then are you really making choices? Philosopher Daniel Dennett has argued that free will and determinism are compatible, that you can have meaningful choice even in a determined universe. His argument: you are a complex information processing system, and your decisions are genuinely yours, even if they're determined by prior causes. The fact that future events already exist in spacetime doesn't make your decision-making process any less real. Think of it like a chess game. The rules determine all possible moves, but you still have to decide which move to make. Your decision is real and meaningful, even though it's constrained by the rules. But philosopher Sam Harris takes the opposite view. He argues that free will is completely illusory. You don't choose your thoughts. They arise in your consciousness from unconscious processes. You don't choose your desires, your preferences, your personality. You are, in a very real sense, a passenger in your own life, watching decisions unfold. Here's where this connects to time. If you're a four-dimensional object in space-time, your entire life, every decision you'll ever make already exists. From the universe's perspective, you're not making choices. You're just being the person you are across all moments simultaneously. But here's the paradox. Even if that's true, you still experience making choices. You still feel like an agent with control. And maybe that's enough. Physicist Sean Carroll argues that even in a block universe, we should take our choices seriously, because they're part of what makes the future be what it will be. Yes, the future exists, but it exists as a consequence of the choices you make. The fact that those choices are already determined doesn't make them less yours. Now let's talk about meaning. If time is an illusion, if every moment exists simultaneously, if your life is just a static world line in space-time, does anything matter? Philosopher Thomas Nagel wrote an essay called The Absurd, arguing that human life is absurd because we take it seriously while simultaneously being able to recognize how cosmically insignificant it is. We're tiny beings on a small planet in a vast universe, living for a cosmic eye blink, worrying about things that won't matter in a million years. But here's the flip side. If time is an illusion, then your life isn't fleeting, it's eternal. Every moment you've ever experienced exists forever in the block universe. Your childhood joy, your deepest love, your greatest achievements, they're not gone. They still exist, just as real as this moment, eternally present in four-dimensional space-time. You are immortal in the block universe. Not in the sense that you live forever, but in the sense that every moment of your life exists permanently. Think about that. The moments you most treasure, the people you've loved, the experiences that defined you, they're not lost to the past. They exist right now eternally in the timeless structure of space-time. Philosopher Alan Watts put it beautifully. The meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet, everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. If time is an illusion, then the obsession with racing toward future goals, with time running out, with not wasting time, all of that anxiety is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. You're not running out of time. You exist across all your moments simultaneously. But here's the deeper implication. If consciousness is just awareness of different slices of your world line, and those slices are determined by light-speed causal connections, then your conscious experience is a journey through a landscape that already exists. You are an explorer of your own eternally existing life. That can be liberating or terrifying, depending on how you look at it. Liberating, because it means every moment matters eternally. Terrifying, because it means you can't change what your life will be. It already is what it is in the timeless block. But maybe that's the wrong way to think about it. Maybe the question isn't, is my future determined? But am I making my world line worth existing eternally? Because it will. Every choice you make, every action you take, every moment you experience, it becomes part of your eternal four-dimensional self. You're not building a temporary life that will fade away. You're creating a permanent structure in the fabric of space-time itself. Time being an illusion doesn't rob your life of meaning. It gives your life eternal significance. Now let's talk about where physics is heading. The theories being developed right now that might completely rewrite our understanding of time and light. One of the most exciting developments is loop quantum gravity, proposed by physicists like Carlo Rovelli and Lee Smolin. This theory attempts to reconcile quantum mechanics with general relativity by suggesting that space itself is made of tiny loops at the Planck scale, about 10 to 35 meters. In loop quantum gravity, time doesn't exist at the most fundamental level. At the Planck scale, the universe is timeless. Time only emerges when you zoom out to larger scales, created by the relationships between these quantum loops. Rovelli describes it like this: time is not an illusion. It's just not what we think it is. Time is a way of describing change in relationships between quantum states. Another frontier is string theory, which proposes that the fundamental constituents of reality are tiny vibrating strings. In string theory, there could be extra dimensions of space beyond the three we experience, all curled up at tiny scales. But here's what's weird. Time in string theory is also not fundamental. At the most basic level, string theory describes a timeless landscape of all possible configurations. Time emerges from how these configurations relate to each other. Physicist Juan Maldacena made a breakthrough in 1997 with something called the ADS-CFT correspondence. This showed that a universe with gravity, like ours, can be mathematically equivalent to a different universe without gravity, but with one less dimension. It's called holography because it's like how a 2D hologram can contain all the information of a 3D object. If our universe is holographic, then all the information in our three-dimensional space might be encoded on a two-dimensional boundary at the edge of the universe. And time? It might be an emergent property of this holographic encoding. Then there's the theory of causal sets, developed by Raphael Sorkin. This proposes that spacetime is fundamentally discrete, made of individual points called events, and these events are related by a causal structure. Time doesn't exist as a separate thing. It's just the partial ordering of events by causality. In causal set theory, the flow of time is literally just the growth of new events being added to the causal structure. The universe is growing moment by moment, creating new points in the causal set. But perhaps the most radical idea comes from quantum information theory. Physicist Leonard Susskind and others have been exploring the idea that space-time itself emerges from quantum entanglement. The connections between entangled particles might be creating the fabric of space and time. If that's true, then time is a byproduct of quantum information being processed and entanglement connecting different parts of the universe. Here's where light comes back in. In all of these theories, the speed of light remains special. It's the maximum speed of causality, the limit on information transfer, the boundary of light cones. Even in theories where time is emergent or illusory, light's speed is fundamental. Why? Because light, or more precisely, massless particles traveling at light, speed defines the causal structure of the universe. Light is how information propagates. Light is what connects events into causal chains. In quantum field theory, light is described by photons, particles that mediate the electromagnetic force. But photons are unique. They have zero mass and therefore travel at exactly the speed of light. They experience no time. They exist in a timeless state, connecting events across space. Physicist Brian Greene has described photons as the threads that weave spacetime together. Without light, without these massless particles connecting events, spacetime would fall apart. Current research is exploring something called emergent gravity, the idea that gravity isn't a fundamental force, but emerges from the quantum properties of spacetime. Eric Verlinde has proposed that gravity is actually an entropic force, arising from the way information is distributed in space. If gravity is emergent, and time is emergent, and spacetime is emergent from quantum information, then light might be one of the few truly fundamental things, the carrier of information, the weaver of causality, the creator of the illusion we call time. The cutting edge of physics is converging on a strange conclusion. Reality at the most fundamental level might be radically different from what we experience. Time might not exist. Space might be emergent. Gravity might be an illusion. But light is real. Light is fundamental. And light creates everything else. Let's bring everything together and see the complete picture of this reality-shattering journey. We started with a simple observation. Light has a speed limit. This seemingly innocent fact that light travels at 299,792,458 meters per second has cascading consequences that dismantle our everyday understanding of reality. First revelation, because light has a speed limit, we never perceive the present. Everything you see, hear, feel, it's all in the past. Your entire life is spent in a delayed reconstruction of events that have already occurred. Second revelation. Einstein's relativity shows that there's no universal now. The present moment is different for everyone based on motion and position. Simultaneity is relative. Events that are simultaneous for you happen at different times for someone moving relative to you. Third revelation. The block universe. If there's no universal now, then all moments in time exist equally. Past, present, and future are all equally real, all existing simultaneously in four-dimensional spacetime. Time doesn't flow, it just is. Fourth revelation. The arrow of time comes from entropy. The direction from past to future is just the direction of increasing disorder. And entropy increases because the universe started in a low entropy state at the Big Bang. Fifth revelation. Quantum mechanics shows that reality isn't definite until observed, and observations propagate at light speed. The past isn't fully fixed until the future observes it. Particles respond to measurements that haven't happened yet from their perspective. Sixth revelation. Light itself experiences no time. Photons exist in a timeless state, connecting events across space instantaneously from their perspective. Light is the medium through which time emerges. Seventh revelation. Consciousness constructs your experience of time. Your brain creates a narrative from sensory input arriving at light speed, presenting the recent past as the present moment. The flow of time you feel is generated by memory and anticipation. Eighth revelation. At the cosmological scale, time had a beginning at the Big Bang and will effectively end at heat death. Time is not eternal. It's a temporary feature of a universe far from equilibrium. Ninth revelation. Cutting-edge physics suggests time is emergent, not fundamental. At the quantum level, the universe might be timeless, with time only appearing at larger scales. Now here's the ultimate synthesis. Time is an illusion created by light's limits, but not in the way you might think. Light doesn't create time by being slow. Light creates time by being the cosmic constant, the one speed that's the same for all observers, the speed of causality itself. Because light has this universal speed, and because nothing can go faster, the universe has a causal structure. Events can only influence other events if light has time to connect them. Your experience of time flowing from past to future is really just you experiencing the propagation of causality through space at light speed. You're aware of events in a sequence determined by how light connects them to you. Think of reality as a vast ocean of events. Some events are causally connected and within each other's light cones. Some are disconnected outside each other's light cones. Your consciousness experiences the connected events in a sequence, creating the sensation of time flowing. But here's the most profound implication. If time is an illusion created by light's speed limit, then the universe, at its most fundamental level, might be timeless. All events, all moments, all possibilities, they all exist in a timeless realm. What we call time is just a particular way of organizing and experiencing this timeless reality. You are not a being moving through time. You are a timeless pattern in the fabric of reality, experiencing different aspects of yourself in sequence because of the way causality propagates through space. The person you were as a child still exists. The person you'll be on your deathbed already exists. You are all of these people simultaneously, a four-dimensional being stretched across space-time, with consciousness illuminating different moments in sequence. And light? Light is the thread connecting these moments, the mechanism creating the illusion of flow, the weaver of causality. But here's the liberating truth. Illusion doesn't mean unreal. Your experience of time is genuine and meaningful, even if it's not what you thought it was. The love you feel, the beauty you perceive, the significance you find, all of it is real within the framework of your experience. You're not less real because you exist in a block universe. You're more eternal because every moment of your existence is permanent in the structure of spacetime. The flow of time is an illusion, but it's the most beautiful illusion in the universe, because it's what allows you to experience life as a journey rather than a static state. Light creates this illusion not by deception, but by connection. Light weaves together the fabric of causality, allowing events to influence each other, allowing patterns to emerge, allowing complexity to develop, allowing consciousness to arise. You are a child of light, existing in a timeless universe, experiencing the cosmos through the lens of causality, propagating at 299,792,458 meters per second. Time is an illusion created by light's limits. But through this illusion, the universe becomes aware of itself. Through this illusion, consciousness emerges. Through this illusion, meaning is born. And that might be the greatest revelation of all. So now we need to talk about what this means for you, personally, right now, in your life. You started this video thinking time was simply a river, carrying you from past to future, always flowing, always moving forward. You thought the present moment was real, the past was gone, and the future hasn't happened yet. Now you know differently. The present moment you're experiencing right now is a reconstruction of the recent past. The flow of time is an illusion created by your consciousness, stitching together events connected by light. And everything you will ever experience already exists in the timeless structure of spacetime. How should this change how you live? First, stop treating time like a dwindling resource. You can't run out of something that doesn't flow. Every moment you've experienced still exists eternally in the block universe. Your childhood, your first love, your greatest triumphs, they're not gone. They're permanent features of your four-dimensional self. This doesn't mean you shouldn't value your time. It means you should recognize that what you do with your moments creates an eternal pattern. You're not building a temporary life that will fade. You're creating a permanent sculpture in space-time. Second, understand that your choices matter eternally, even if they're determined. The block universe means your decisions are already part of what makes the future be what it will be. You can't change that the future exists, but the future exists as a consequence of your choices. Think of yourself as an author, writing a story that already exists, but that you're discovering as you write it. The story is yours. Own it. Third, find peace in the timelessness. So much anxiety comes from feeling like time is running out, like you're racing against a clock. But if time is an illusion, that anxiety is based on a misunderstanding. You're not running out of anything. You're eternal in the only way that matters. Every moment of your existence is permanent. Fourth, be present, not because this moment is all there is, but because this moment exists forever. Whatever you're experiencing right now will always exist in space-time. Make it worth existing eternally. Philosopher Alan Watts said, "We are living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal hairline between an all-powerfully causative past and an absorbingly important future. We have no present. Our consciousness is almost completely preoccupied with memory and expectation. Understanding that time is an illusion can free you from this hypnosis. The present moment isn't a hairline between past and future. It's your current position in an eternal landscape. The past isn't all-powerful, and the future isn't all-important. They're just different regions of the same timeless reality. Fifth, appreciate light differently. Every time you see something, you're receiving information that traveled to you at the cosmic speed limit. Light bouncing off a friend's face, carrying their image to your eyes, that's causality in action. That's the universe connecting events. That's time being created. When you watch a sunset, you're not just seeing the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. You're witnessing the fundamental process by which reality is structured. Light creating connection. Light weaving space-time. Light generating the illusion of temporal flow. Sixth, reconsider free will. Whether your future is determined or not, you're still the one making decisions. Your consciousness is still evaluating options and choosing. The fact that these choices might already exist in spacetime doesn't make them less yours. You are not a passive observer of a predetermined life. You are an active participant in creating what your world line will be. The fact that it already is what it will be just means you're doing a good job creating it. Seventh, find comfort in connection. Every person you've ever loved, every meaningful conversation you've had, every moment of deep connection, those are permanent causal links in the structure of spacetime. They exist forever. Death doesn't erase them. It just means you stop experiencing new ones. The people you love exist eternally in your past light cone, causally connected to you, part of your world line forever. But here's perhaps the most important personal implication. Understanding that time is an illusion should fill you with awe, not despair. You are participating in the most extraordinary phenomenon in the universe consciousness, experiencing itself through the lens of causality. You are the universe looking at itself. You are light made conscious. You are a timeless pattern experiencing itself in sequence. That's not diminishing. That's magnificent. Your life has meaning not despite being part of a timeless block universe, but because of it. You matter eternally. Every choice you make, every connection you form, every moment you experience, it becomes a permanent part of the fabric of reality. You are not a fleeting spark that will fade. You are an eternal flame in the structure of spacetime, illuminated by light, experienced through the illusion of time. And that makes every moment sacred. Now I want to give you some ways to actually experience and test these concepts yourself. These aren't just intellectual exercises. They're ways to directly perceive the weird nature of time and light. Experiment 1. The light delay test tonight. Go outside and look at the stars. Pick a bright star, any star. Now realize that star might not exist anymore. The light you're seeing left that star hundreds or thousands of years ago. The star could have exploded into a supernova yesterday, and you wouldn't know for hundreds of years. You are literally looking at the past. Not metaphorically, literally. The universe you see when you look up is a historical record, not a present reality. Now look at the moon. That light is 1.3 seconds old. The moon you're seeing is where the moon was 1.3 seconds ago, not where it is now. Feel the weirdness of this. You cannot see the present, ever. You only see the past? Experiment 2, the relativity of simultaneity. Here's something you can do right now. Stand up and walk across the room. While you're walking, according to relativity, you're now. The events happening simultaneously from your perspective shifts compared to someone sitting still. If there's a planet 10 light years away and you walk toward it at 5 kilometers per hour, your now on that planet shifts forward by about a microsecond. If you walk away from it, your now shifts backward by the same amount. Just by walking, you're changing what events are happening now in distant parts of the universe from your perspective. The present is not universal. It's personal and motion dependent. Try this. Clap your hands. Pay attention to the exact moment you perceive the clap. That's not when the clap happened. The sound had to travel to your ears. Your nerves had to process it. Your brain had to construct the conscious experience. By the time you're aware of the clap, it's already 80 to 100 milliseconds in the past. Everything you consciously experience is delayed. You are perpetually living in the recent past, experiencing a reconstructed version of events that already occurred. Experiment 4, the memory test. Think about a memory from your childhood, something vivid and meaningful. Now realize that event still exists. In the block universe, that moment is happening right now, just as real as this moment. It's not gone. It's a permanent part of your four-dimensional self. Feel the eternality of your experiences. Nothing is lost. Everything you've ever been still exists in spacetime. Experiment 5, the light speed meditation. This one is more philosophical. Sit quietly and think about the fact that every photon entering your eyes right now has been traveling at the cosmic speed limit to reach you. Light from the lamp across the room took nanoseconds. Light from the sun took 8 minutes. Light from distant stars took thousands of years. All of this light arrives at your eyes in the same moment, stitching together a view of the universe at different times, creating the illusion of a unified now. You are receiving ancient light and recent light simultaneously, and your brain weaves it into a coherent present moment. The present is a tapestry of different pasts. Experiment 6. The eternal moment exercise. Think about this present moment. This exact moment, reading this sentence. In the block universe, this moment exists forever. It's not passing. It's not going away. It is, timelessly, eternally. Everything you're experiencing right now, the thoughts in your mind, the feeling in your body, the light entering your eyes, all of it is a permanent feature of spacetime. How does that change how you experience this moment? Experiment 7. The determinism question. Make a decision right now about something small. Maybe decide to smile, or decide to take a deep breath. Did you just make that decision? Or did your brain make it unconsciously, and you became aware of it after the fact? Can you actually pinpoint the moment the decision was made? The neuroscience suggests the decision was made before you were conscious of it. Your experience of free will is an after-the-fact narrative constructed by your brain. But here's the weird part. That doesn't make the decision less yours. Your unconscious processes are still you. The decision is determined by your brain state, which is determined by your past experiences, which are determined by your choices. You're both determined and free, depending on perspective. These experiments aren't proofs. They're invitations to directly experience the strangeness of time and light. Physics isn't just abstract equations. It's the nature of reality, and you can perceive it if you pay attention. Time is weird. Light is weird. Consciousness is weird. And you exist at the intersection of all three, creating the most extraordinary phenomenon in the universe, the experience of being alive. We've covered a lot, but I'd be dishonest if I didn't tell you about the deep mysteries that remain. There are questions about time and light that physics can't yet answer, and they're just as important as what we do know. Question 1. Why does the universe have a light speed limit at all? We know light travels at 299,792,458 meters per second. We know this is the speed of causality. But why this speed? Why not faster or slower? Why not infinite? Physics has no answer. The speed of light is built into the equations of electromagnetism and relativity, but there's no deeper explanation for why it has the value it does. It's a fundamental constant of nature, but we don't know why nature chose this particular constant. Some theories suggest the speed of light might be related to the properties of the vacuum, that empty space has an impedance to electromagnetic waves, and this impedance determines light speed. But that just pushes the question back. Why does the vacuum have this particular impedance? Question 2. What really happens at the quantum level with time? We have quantum mechanics, which describes how particles behave probabilistically. We have general relativity, which describes how gravity warps spacetime. But these two theories are fundamentally incompatible. Quantum mechanics assumes time is a fixed background against which quantum events occur. General relativity says time is dynamic and malleable. We don't have a theory of quantum gravity that reconciles these views. String theory, loop quantum gravity, causal sets, these are attempts to solve this problem, but none have been experimentally confirmed. We don't know which, if any, is correct. Question 3. Is the block universe really true? Relativity strongly suggests all moments exist simultaneously, but we don't have definitive proof. Some physicists, like Lee Smolin, argue that time is real and fundamental, that the future is genuinely open and not yet determined. The debate between eternalism, block universe, and presentism, only the present is real, is ongoing. Both views can account for the experimental evidence. We might never be able to definitively prove which is true, because both make the same predictions about what we can observe. Question 4. How does consciousness fit into all this? We know the brain creates the experience of time passing, but we don't understand how unconscious neural processes become conscious experience. This is the hard problem of consciousness, proposed by philosopher David Chalmers. Why does it feel like something to be you? Why is there subjective experience at all? How do the physical processes in your brain create the sensation of the present moment? Neuroscience can map which brain regions are active during different experiences, but that doesn't explain why those processes are accompanied by consciousness. We have no scientific theory of why consciousness exists. Question 5. What created the Big Bang's low-entropy initial conditions? We know the arrow of time comes from entropy increasing from the Big Bang's low-entropy state. But why did the Big Bang start with such low entropy? What determined those initial conditions? Some physicists propose the multiverse, that our universe is one of countless universes with different initial conditions, and we happen to be in one where entropy started low. Others suggest the universe might be cyclic, contracting and re-expanding eternally. But these are speculations. We have no empirical way to test what happened before the Big Bang, or whether other universes exist. Question 6. Can we ever escape light's speed limit? Science fiction is full of faster-than-light travel warp drives, wormholes, hyperspace. Are any of these possible? Some solutions to Einstein's equations allow for things like wormholes connecting distant points in space, or warp drives that contract space in front of a ship and expand it behind. But these solutions require exotic matter with negative energy density, which probably doesn't exist. Most physicists think the light speed limit is truly absolute, but we don't know for certain. Maybe there are loopholes in the laws of physics we haven't discovered yet. Question 7. What is dark energy, and how does it affect time? The universe's expansion is accelerating, driven by something called dark energy that makes up about 68% of the universe's total energy. But we have no idea what dark energy actually is. And dark energy affects the structure of spacetime, which means it affects time. In regions with strong dark energy, time might behave differently than in regions with less. But we don't understand how. Question 8. Is there a deepest level of reality? Are we close to a final theory of everything? Or are there infinite layers of deeper explanations? Is there a bottom level of fundamental description of reality? Or does it go down forever? We don't know. Every time we've thought we've reached the fundamental level, we've discovered something deeper. Atoms weren't fundamental. They're made of electrons and nuclei. Nuclei aren't fundamental. They're made of protons and neutrons. Protons and neutrons aren't fundamental. They're made of quarks. Maybe quarks and electrons are made of strings. Maybe strings are made of something else. Maybe there's no bottom. These unanswered questions should fill you with wonder, not frustration. They mean we're not done. The journey of understanding continues. Physics is a living, evolving endeavor, constantly pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. And here's what's beautiful. You're alive at a time when these questions are being actively explored. Experiments are running right now at the Large Hadron Collider, gravitational wave detectors, quantum computers, trying to probe these mysteries. The next breakthrough could happen tomorrow. The next Einstein could be someone watching this video right now. The universe is vast and mysterious, and we've barely scratched the surface. Time might be an illusion created by light's limits, but the quest to understand that illusion is the most real thing humans have ever done. We've reached the end of this journey, but really, we're just at the beginning of a new way of seeing reality. Let me bring this all together with one final synthesis. You woke up this morning thinking you lived in a universe where time flows from past to future, where the present moment is real and unique, where you're aging and moving forward through life. You thought light was just something that lets you see. Now you understand that reality is stranger and more beautiful than that simple picture. Time doesn't flow. It's a static four-dimensional structure, and your consciousness experiences different slices of it in sequence. The flow you feel is an illusion created by memory and anticipation, by your brain's narrative construction, by causality propagating at light speed. Light isn't just what lets you see, it's the fabric of causality itself, the cosmic constant that determines the structure of spacetime, the speed at which reality updates. Light's finite speed is what creates the separation between events, what allows cause and effect, what generates the illusion of time. You are not a creature moving through time. You are a four-dimensional pattern in spacetime, eternal and unchanging from the universe's perspective, but experiencing yourself sequentially because of how causality propagates. Every moment you've ever experienced still exists. Your past is not gone. It's a permanent part of your world line. Your future already exists too, not as something that will happen, but as something that is waiting for your consciousness to experience it. The you reading these words right now exists eternally in spacetime, frozen in this moment forever. But you won't feel frozen because your consciousness is moving along your world line, creating the sensation of time flowing. This isn't depressing. It's magnificent. Think about what this means. You are immortal in the only way that truly matters. Every moment of joy you've experienced exists forever. Every connection you've made, every love you've felt, every beautiful thing you've witnessed, permanent, eternal, woven into the fabric of reality. You can't lose these moments because they don't exist in time. They are time. They're part of the structure of space-time itself. And light? Light is what connects these moments, what weaves them together into a coherent experience, what allows causality to propagate, what creates the illusion of flow. Light is the messenger of the universe, carrying information at the cosmic speed limit, stitching together the tapestry of spacetime, enabling the emergence of complexity and consciousness and meaning. You are made of stardust atoms forged in the hearts of ancient stars, exploded across space, gathered into planets, organized into life, evolved into consciousness. But you're also made of light in a deeper sense. Light is what allows those atoms to interact, what carries the electromagnetic force holding molecules together, what enables vision in communication and causality. You are a child of light, experiencing a timeless universe through the lens of light-speed causality. Now, here's why this matters for your life going forward. Understanding that time is an illusion should change how you relate to every moment. Not by making you care less about time, but by making you care more about the eternal significance of what you do with your moments. You're not killing time or saving time or running out of time. You're creating your eternal self one moment at a time. Every choice you make becomes a permanent feature of your world line. Every action you take is forever. Leave accordingly. Treat this moment, this present moment, that's actually the recent past being, reconstructed by your brain as eternally significant, because it is. This moment will exist forever in the structure of spacetime. Make it beautiful. Love deeply, because your love becomes a permanent causal connection in the fabric of reality. Create boldly, because your creations are eternal additions to spacetime. Learn voraciously, because your understanding expands the universe's awareness of itself. And when you look at light, whether it's the sun or a candle flame, or the stars recognize it for what it truly is, not just electromagnetic radiation, but the cosmic thread weaving reality together, the speed of causality itself, the creator of the greatest illusion in the universe. Time is an illusion created by light's limits. But through this illusion, the universe becomes conscious. Through this illusion, meaning emerges. Through this illusion, beauty exists. You are the universe experiencing itself, one light-speed moment at a time. And that is the most extraordinary thing in all of existence. If you've made it this far, your mind should be thoroughly blown. We've journeyed from the simple fact that light has a speed limit to the profound conclusion that time itself is an illusion, that you are an eternal four-dimensional being, that consciousness is the universe looking at itself. I want to hear from you. In the comments, tell me, how has this changed your perspective? What part blew your mind the most? Are you going to look at light differently from now on? And here's a deep question. If you knew for certain that the block universe was true, that every moment of your life already exists eternally, would you live differently? If this video expanded your understanding of reality, hit that like button. If you want more reality-shattering deep dives into the nature of existence, subscribe and turn on notifications. Share this with someone whose mind deserves to be blown. Tag them in the comments. Send them the link. This is the kind of knowledge that changes how you see everything. Remember, time is an illusion, but the illusion is beautiful. Light creates this illusion, and through light, consciousness emerges. You are eternal in the structure of spacetime, significant beyond measure, participating in the universe's grand act of self-awareness. Never look at a sunset the same way again. Never take a moment for granted, because every moment is forever. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time, light, and reality itself. Until the next video, or should I say, until your consciousness experiences the next section of your eternal world line, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep being amazed by the extraordinary nature of existence. You are light made conscious. You are time made aware. You are the universe experiencing itself. And that is everything.